Hello, I am back with another DoDonPachi Resurrection 1cc, this time using the C-type ship with strong style. Might have noticed I've taken a little break from playing shmups and YouTube in general, but I'm starting to get back into it, so you'll notice that in this 1cc it's a bit rough on the edges. It's not perfectly routed. I've only started playing this game again, so you'll see definitely when we get to the later stages some clutch and or miraculous dodges, depending on how you see it there. And even in the earlier stages you might see it here, so I mean, if anything it'll make it more entertaining to watch. But so anyways, I picked the C-Strong ship. I'm a fan of the very wide shot. You can see that it covers most of the screen, which is very convenient, especially if you're a novice player, you're getting back into things. And of course the strong style has the strongest laser and the strongest shot. The laser, since it's so strong, it overpowers and can counter any laser in the game, even the really large lasers that we'll see later on. And here, since I'm only going for the 1-all, I don't really care about picking up the V's too much. If I need to fill up my hypermeter, then I'll snag a green V to fill it up, but I'm not really looking to pick it up because I'm not looking to enter the second loop, and I'm also not looking to enter into the Ura route in the stages because some of the Ura route mid-bosses can be a little difficult. And what I mean by that, so in the beginning of the stages or even throughout your run, sometimes you might see the screen change and a blue square flicker and you'll enter another part of the stage, and that's an alternate mid-boss that are modeled after the old DoDonPachi bosses, which I feel like is kind of convenient. Some of them can be a little difficult, with the exception of Stage 5. The Stage 5 Ura route mid-boss is actually easier than the normal Stage 5 mid-boss, which you'll see here. That one always gives me a lot of trouble, but here we are on Stage 1. Stage 1 shouldn't give you too much trouble, especially if you're playing C-Strong. You can generally stay towards the middle of the screen and flood the screen with your regular shot, and you shouldn't have too many issues. And with the amount of resources that the game gives you, you can activate hyper mode, you can activate your auto bomb, or activate your regular bomb, and you have your auto bomb as well, so that acts as a life as an extend. So this game is very, very good. If you're looking for a clear and you've never gotten an arcade clear, this is a really good game to start with. It's not free for sure, definitely not free, but it does give you the resources that you need to do it. So activate my hyper here, and a really good thing about your hyper mode is that your regular shot cancels bullets into those star items, and with the strong shot, especially the C shot, it's essentially every bullet on screen getting cancelled. And you'll see that both when you activate and when your hyper ends, you have a period of invulnerability that you can use to position yourself. The deactivation of the hyper also cancels the bullets on screen, which is really convenient. And then with the hyper gain that you gain, you can just keep using it. So here I am just sneaking through these bullets here. Keep in mind that those lasers might sneak up on you. You have to be able to dodge those lasers, and if they hit you, as long as you're using your laser, you won't get hit by those lasers. So your lasers will counter those, and you have to make sure to train your laser on those to destroy them, or else sometimes in some of my runs I lose track of where those lasers are, and I'm too busy flooding the screen with my regular shot and I get hit by a laser. So don't let that happen to you. I made a little mistake and I grabbed that bomb there when I didn't need to. I don't really care about the maximum bonus here, and that bomb acts as an extra bomb, but since I picked it up I essentially lost it. But that's alright. There's one of those miraculous dodges there where I for sure thought I was going to get hit, but I did not, so that's kind of nice. And of course I would have triggered my auto bomb in that case, and that's another one where my hyper ended right on time and I would have gotten hit by a bullet again. So that's two clutch moments here already in the stage 2 boss. Here I activated my hyper because I knew I was going to get hit there and I wasn't going to be able to dodge that, so it's generally a good spot to activate my bomb, not my hyper. So one thing about the hyper gain you can see the amount of hyper meter you have in the top left corner on the bar, right above the icons indicating how many lives you have left. And here, the ships that you have show you the amount of extends. So I have 2 ships there, so I have 3 lives. You always do a number extends +1 here. For stage 3, it's really important that in this beginning part of the stage, those ships that appear right in the middle can flood the screen pretty quickly with bullets. And right there, I could have snuck in that tiny little lane that appeared next to me, but I didn't want to risk it, so I activated a bomb there. Almost at my next hyper, and the game does a good job of giving you an audio cue when your hyper is ready, so it's kind of neat. You don't have to stare at the bar, at the hyper bar, to look at your hyper meter. And I'm playing on the Switch port, so the Switch and the Xbox 360 and the Steam port, they give you an option to, and I don't do it here, but you can add an extra window on your screen that zooms in to an area of your choice. So oftentimes I'll see players have their extra window zooming in to their combo meter and their hyper meter, like the score in the top left corner of the screen, to make it easier to actually see the amount of hyper meter you have in your combo meter. And speaking of combo meter, so the colored bar on the left there, on the top left corner of the screen, is the combo meter. People call it combo meter, others call it chain or chain meter. It's essentially what controls the amount of hits that you get, and as long as that combo meter is filled, your hits will increase and your chain won't drop. And generally the hits are used to increase your score, so the higher hits you have, your multiplier goes up, or your get point value goes up. The get point value is the number below the max hit. It has, like, right now it's at plus 40,000, and that's essentially a value that is added to each enemy that you destroy. And so the higher your hits, the higher, essentially, the more score that you get. So I'm not trying to, I probably should route this a little bit better, because I don't end up getting the second score extend in this game. I do get the first one, so, because what's really cool here is with the 2 score extends, I took a hit here, I almost squeaked by that one. With the 2 score extends plus this hidden extend that is coming up here, where destroying that tower in the center without using a bomb earns you that secret extend, you get a ton more bombs. So every time you take a hit and you lose a life, you get an extra bomb in your bomb meter, so now I have 4. And so when you die 3 times, you end up having 6 bombs. And so if you get all 3 extends, it's like, I think you get a total of 24 bombs at your disposal in the entire game. I have to, I think that's about it. So it's a crazy amount of bombs, and of course with the auto bomb, they'll automatically activate when you get hit. So you can see that if you're going for a 1-all and you have enough resources, you can essentially bully your way through the 5th level, which is sort of what I try to do in this run. So here we are on the stage 3 boss with this pattern. Kind of just try to find the lane, and you had those cascading bullets raining down on you, and I got hit there. Whenever you get hit, your auto bomb triggers, the bomb duration lasts significantly less than if you were to manually trigger your bomb. And so sometimes you can get into a situation where, and you don't have any invulnerability during that auto bomb. Maybe, like, if you do, it's really, really short. And so it's possible, if you're trying to get greedy and you're hoarding your bombs, that you get hit a ton of times, you trigger a bunch of auto bombs, and you realize that you're low on resources to clear the game. That's happened to me in a few runs and I've lost a few runs because of that. I got greedy and I'm like, I can get by this, and I end up auto bombing too much instead of manually bombing. Because a good thing to do when you use your manual bomb is to get up close to an enemy and to take advantage of your invulnerable frames, and to laser enemies up close and point blank them, because when you damage enemies with your laser up close, you not only deal more damage because of your laser aura, but then the damage that your laser aura does increases your hyper gain, and so you can activate your hyper faster. Now there's a flip side to the hyper gain where your hyper is lost, or if you notice my hyper meter, it went down a little bit. And it goes down when you drop your chain. So there is an incentive to try to at least keep your chain up and keep your combo going, because if you let your combo drop, then you start to lose your hyper meter. So if you're playing this game and you're wondering, and you look at replays and you're playing the game yourself and you're thinking like, why do I never seem to have a hyper available? It might be because you don't really have a combo going, and so you have to try to at least keep a combo going, and if you drop a combo, to get another one immediately. That way you can get your hyper, because the hypers in this game are pretty powerful. So stage 4 mid boss here. This one isn't too bad. That was another miracle dodge where you can see my hitbox. I could have sworn I was right in the middle of that giant blue bullet, but some of these bullets in this game are deceiving, where the hitbox is a lot smaller than you think. So you can have those miracle cave dodges, or you're just flying in the middle of there. So that's another one. This run is full of them. And then, so here I'm activating my hyper again. Each time you activate your hyper, it increases your hyper rank. Your hyper rank can go up to a maximum of 5, and what that does is it reduces the effectiveness of your bullet canceling, and so up to a point where even in bosses, when you activate your hyper with a high enough hyper rank, that it doesn't cancel the bullets at all, just slows them down, so you can still get hit in that case. And then, oof, it's squeaking in there, and then I gotta watch out for those laser turrets there that can wall me off and hit me if I'm not using my own laser to counter them. This latter portion of the stage is full of these laser turrets, so you have to quickly alternate between your regular shot and your laser shot to make sure that you don't get tagged by those lasers. Kind of tricky because it's so tempting to use my really wide regular shot to take care of the entire screen, but then I have to keep my laser trained to take care of those tanks. And this is a really satisfying bullet cancel here, where these giant stars just rain down on the screen, so very satisfying. But yeah, about the hyper rank, if you get all the way to a hyper rank of 5, then you'll see that your bullets, the bullets aren't really getting canceled much, so it gets kind of tricky, and whenever you do activate your hyper, while it's active, the enemies become more aggressive, and the amount of bullets and how fast the bullets come out, so something to consider. This stage 4 boss, in the beginning, there's a little trick that you can do, and I think I do it here, where if you let one of those rockets fall down, at least one, then the boss will just kind of hang out at the top of the screen, allowing you several seconds of just point blanking it with the laser to not only really boost your damage to the boss, but boost your hyper gain. So I almost have my hyper ready because of that. And then this part here, yeah, I get hit with the auto bomb, so I almost, this pattern's really nasty, and the goal is to try to destroy the first form of the boss before that pattern comes out. Another trick here is to hang out all the way on the side of the screen so that those bullets from the kind of like turret don't really hit you much. I didn't get to the other side on time for the second volley, so I activate my hyper, and since I'm playing strong style, just melt the boss here. This next one, you kind of just strafe back and forth, go between the lanes here, and then this last part always kind of gets me, because you get surrounded by those blue ones, and then if you don't destroy the boss in time, she'll start shooting a stream of pink bullets. You can kind of get away with ending that form early with strong style because of how strong the laser is. So, but if you're playing, you know, bomb or power style, then that might get you. So resource-wise, I'm doing pretty well. I have 3 extends. I don't have any bombs, and the start of stage 5, it's pretty important that you have either a bomb or a hyper available, because the enemies really gang up on you, and then before you know, you have that giant laser turret on the right just sectioning off the screen and with the bullets flying. So if you don't have a bomb or a hyper, it's pretty tough to get past those. And so the strategy here is you have to time when you have to cross the barrier with your laser, and while you're using your laser, you're getting less coverage to destroy everything else on the screen that's trying to flood you. Especially that tank on the right there is really nasty if you let it hang out for too long. And so I'm just alternating between laser and my regular shot. And now that my hyper is gone, I have to really be careful here. And I'm kind of waiting until the last second to cross that laser here. Here's the stage 5 mid-boss, so it's the first one. This one is pretty difficult, and if you have bombs, definitely use it. Don't get greedy. This first volley is a little bit easy, but then like things start crossing and overlapping, and I'm like, now I'm not gonna do it. So I mean, 2 bombs with the point blank takes care of the mid-boss, and it's like, you don't even fool around with that point. That's just nasty. Of course, the earlier you destroy that mid-boss, then you get hit with this flood of popcorn enemies. That is actually a really good exercise in bullet hurting, because if you can bullet hurt this volley of enemies without having to use a hyper or a bomb, then that's pretty good. But eventually you have to use a bomb or hyper, and then if you're hypering, you can kind of hang out in the middle of the screen and just cancel all the bullets that are coming in for the duration of this rush. Kind of convenient. So the rush will slow down here before we enter the laser wheel portion, where you have 3 rounds of laser wheels here. And before we do that, we have these kind of like walking tanks that shoot out these whips of blue bullets, and those whips travel surprisingly really quickly, and then before you know it, the laser wheels are coming in. So this is another section. Don't get greedy with trying to dodge without an auto bomb. Bomb through this. The bombs last surprisingly long. Once you do either bomb or hyper, you gotta kind of try to head towards the right. And this section without a hyper is a little tricky because of the amount of bullets that are trying to flood you, and so I should have, I got trapped there and I lost a life and didn't have a bomb left. But now I have 6 bombs to stock and we can extend some. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Of course, things can snowball quickly in this stage, so you still have to be careful here. Here's the second round of this laser wheels where it's going to take me to the left. So I have to make my way to the left. I got hit with an auto bomb, and then the screen's going to start scrolling down. But while it's scrolling down, I'm getting these floods of helicopters that are trying to box me out here. So I'm kind of trapped here, and go to the right, squeak, and things go pretty quick. And then, I got my hyper, I'm making use of the screen, then, oh wow, okay. Yeah, so my hyper ended, and where I would have gotten hit there actually canceled the bullets, so that was another lucky break for me. So that was the second round of laser wheels finished. I have 1 more before the next mid-boss, and then here I'm just kind of hold out as long as I can before I use my hyper. My hyper rank is at 4 right now. You can tell if you look at my ship, you can see 4 little ticks on the hyper gauge, and that indicates my hyper rank. So of course I got hit, so if you get hit and you trigger your auto bomb while you're in hyper, your hyper immediately ends. And so here I'm not going to fool around this bombing, because it's going to take me down to the right, but then my exit is going to be up, but the screen isn't scrolling up there yet, so I went too quickly before coming up, so I just bomb and get a free passage out of there. For the second mid-boss for stage 5 isn't too bad, especially if you have a hyper, and even if your hyper rank is at 5 like it is for me right now. You can see like none of the bullets are getting cancelled, but they are slowing down enough that I can dodge through them. And Type C has a further advantage because of the amount of bullets that are on screen, that if you're using your regular shot in really tight spaces, you can sort of induce the slowdown in the game. And you can cause the game to slow down to give you a little bit, like an extra second or 2 to determine where you're going to go, so that's kind of neat. The bad part about that is that as soon as you activate your laser, the slowdown ends, so the bullets kind of like speed up again, so timing can get a little tricky. So we're done with the laser wheels, and we're in the second half of the stage, and one thing about that bomb carrier is that I made a mistake here, is that you want to get that bomb as soon as possible, because if you hesitate to pick up that bomb, then, I mean, look at that, like, good luck trying to pick up that bomb now until, like, this whole section is cleared out. And so I have no bomb, so I'm just going there. I pick up the bomb, so I have a lifeline here, and so I'm pretty good, a little calmer now. And now I'm just using my wide shot here, and yeah, this wide shot is just really good. It's one of my, I think, C strong is definitely one of my favorite ship combinations to use. So I'm using my hyper here, and I'm at hyper rank 5, so I've maxed out my hyper rank, so my bullet canceling is going to be not as good, but it'll still slow down the bullets for me. And while not a laser wheel section, this is a laser section, and so the lasers prevent me from just using my regular shot the entire time. And the lanes here get pretty tight. I'm trying to hold out on not using my bomb for as much as possible, because I'm almost at the final stretch here. I got cornered there, so I had to use my bomb. But I'm almost at my next hyper. And then here is this giant cannon portion. For this one, you have to keep your laser trained on the cannon and just strafe left and right, timing your movement with the rush of the popcorn enemies. Once you destroy this, now this is the final stretch, the final rush. And if you have a hyperactive, then it makes this section pretty easy. If you don't, then it's another really good place where you have to herd the bullets and give yourself a cutback lane that you can do here. And there's where I was talking about with, you can induce a slowdown with your regular shot. And since I had so many bullets coming from my ship, I could slow down and dodge that. So, stage 5 boss, it's a good opportunity to try to get your hyper build up so that you can make this first volley a little easier, which I do. And then since I'm at a high hyper rank, none of these bullets are getting cancelled, but they're going slow enough that I can kind of squeak by. But because I'm not using my laser, I'm not really damaging the boss enough. So, I'm a little nervous. But I have 1 life left, so I know if I take a hit, I'm going to get 6 more bombs, which will let me essentially bully this boss. So I get hit. I knew I was going to get hit there. I have 6 bombs. And this is another place, don't get greedy with your auto bomb. If you get chain hit, then you might run out of resources. But at this point, I'm pretty confident I'm going to get the 1-all. So I use my hyper, and then while the boss is setting up, do a little bit of point blank damage. This pattern is a little bit tricky because of those lateral blue bullets that come at you. So I get hit there, that's 1 auto bomb, and I think at a certain point I just say screw it, I just start bombing. And then those fireballs are also another sneaky, like you don't know exactly where the hitbox is. The hitbox looks huge, but it's actually smaller than you think. Last phase here I have 3 bombs, and I have a hyper, so I figured I'd use my hyper, cancel these bullets, last as long as possible, and now it's just kind of swaggy. So I'm like, okay, I got hit, I have 2 bombs left, so I just bomb it, and then when you bomb you can just point blank the boss and get the kill. So a bit sloppy, pretty sloppy stage 5 in the stage 5 boss that I used a lot of resources, but that's what the resources are there for. And if I'm not going for the 2-all, then I can get away with bombing as I please. But overall, not too shabby for getting back into things, and this is a ton of fun to get a 1-all in. It's a good way to get back into it, or if you're looking for an relatively easier cave clear, then this is the one that I recommend going to. Definitely not easy objectively, it's still pretty difficult, but a lot of fun to practice and to get good at. So of course I get the the bad ending where I don't need to know anything more and I ruin the future, but that's okay. I get the mission complete, so I'm happy. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this commentary. I'm going to start getting back into it. I do like this game a lot, and I think you don't often see commentaries of non-standard ships, like especially with DaiFukkatsu. This game you see a lot of clears and commentaries with B Strong, because B Strong is very popular ship. It's really, really powerful ship to do, so that's a common first clear that people like to play with and commentate. So, and I have a Be Strong clear. If you want to check that out, then I'll throw that up on the screen. But I think I'll, go through all the ship types and see how I do and give commentary, because each ship type plays different. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.